Can we talk about this whole Brandon Aiyuk saga? Bizarre story, honestly, Matt, where, okay, I get it. He's injured, and all of a sudden they're avoiding the guarantees in his contract. I mean, that sounds extremely not allowed. But I think they're trying to tag him on a bunch of technicalities. Like, I'm so confused. Like, what is going on? The guy's hurt. Why are we? Man, I don't know. I think this is very not a good look at all for San Francisco's front office. And honestly, it's the very first time where there has been this clear of a division between John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, where Shanahan's pretty much let it be known, like, no, I want Aiyuk here. Like, I like Aiyuk. I think Brandon Aiyuk is great. Like, and I want him on my football team. And the front office is doing literally everything they can to burn this bridge.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
So I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what is going on, but it doesn't sound like Brandon Aiyuk's going to be a San Francisco 49er for very much longer.
This is a tough one, and like the reporting has kind of rolled out through the weekend. And like I was in New York City this weekend, I was having a good time. And you boys got a life here, so I was I was at the same time following the story, and kind of checking in on it. But I thought a few things really stood out to me. Number one, apparently they voided they didn't void his contract. They voided his guarantees, right? Obviously, you can't just void his contract, but they voided the guarantees in his contract, which would effectively allow them to release him at the end of the year if they wanted to. But they did this in July. It's November. Why are we just finding out about this now? They voided those guarantees in July, and it was because he was missing some rehab with the team, which obviously they structured the contract. And I do think things have always been a little weird between Aiyuk and the 49ers, and we can say it's been weird with maybe the front office. Maybe it's been weird. It's certainly been weird at times with Shanahan. Even last year, put him in the doghouse. There's always been a little bit of a strange dynamic there. And obviously when he was trying to get that contract signed, he was, posting practice film from the Washington Commanders with his boy Jaden Daniels. He's talking about the Steelers and all these things. And yet at the 11th hour, it was Shanahan who stopped the trade to Pittsburgh and ultimately said, no, we have, like you said, we have to have Aiyuk here. And they signed him to that contract, and obviously it goes as badly as possible because, of course, he signed at the last minute. He wasn't in shape to start the season, wasn't having a good season, and he had a devastating knee injury where he tore 3 ligaments in his knee. I am the biggest Brandon Aiyuk guy that you will find, and I never considered him like a big factor in the 2025 season. I just never thought he was going to be really involved in this season, and I think that's probably the way it will go. I don't know if he's going to play for the Niners this year. I've always kind of been up in the air even when he does play. I don't know. I certainly didn't think we were going to see 2023 Brandon Aiyuk, which 2023 Brandon Aiyuk is a top 10 receiver in the NFL. Period. End of story. He was flippin' believable that year. He had an historic year in terms of yards per target. If you look at his reception perception profile, full green route tree, 96th percentile against man coverage, 91st percentile against zone coverage, 97th percentile against press. I mean, it's one of the better seasons I've ever logged. Period. He was a top 10 receiver bare minimum in that 2023 season. I didn't think we were going to get that this year because he's coming off this major injury, and I don't know if we will ever get it again. So that is, I think, kind of hanging over this whole thing here. And then, apparently, according to the reports, like Diana Rossini of the NFL, The Athletic was the first one, I think, to sort of break the story over the weekend that they avoided these guarantees and, they're kind of paving the pathway for him to not be on this team going forward. And then the other interesting thing to this is that the report was that him and the NFLPA have decided not to contest this, which is interesting.
Right. That's bizarre.
And then Jay Glazer on Sunday morning comes out with a report. Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network, first of all, he reported that, hey, there's still a contingent of people that want him in the building, that want Brandon Aiyuk to be on this team. And then Jay Glazer comes out and says, it's up to Brandon, was generally his report. Was if he comes back in at some point here in the next few weeks before their season ends, and he works hard and he's dedicated and he's involved in the process, then I think he'll be on the team next year. He won't have the guarantees, but he'll be on the team next year. But if he doesn't do that, then the relationship is over and they'll release him at the end of the year. I think that there's a chance that he comes back and he's with the team, and I think there's probably a better chance that he doesn't come back, because I don't know if he wants to be there anymore. I don't know if the grass is greener on the other side for Brandon. I have no idea. I've only spoken to Brandon once, very, very, very briefly, and had like a brief conversation about routes. Okay. So like I don't know him very well, but I don't know what his mindset is on these things, on this issue in particular. I know he's an awesome fit with the San Francisco 49ers. I know that the 2023 version of Brandon Aiyuk is a top 10 receiver in the NFL, but I don't know when we will ever get that, if we will ever get that again. And I don't know if he will be a Niner next season. And I don't know if it's better.
Chance.
You think there's a 0% chance. And I think 0%. I think the odds favor him not being there.
Let me say this. You can't go and I understand the money aspect of it, right? Like if he works hard, like he's going to get $26 million next year. Great money, right? That's good. But Brandon Aiyuk, and I get it, he hasn't been that like superstar receiver since 2023. My goodness gracious, it's going to be 2026 when he plays. Like that is an entire lifetime in the NFL. I understand. But the wide receiver market in the NFL right now is out of control. It's crazy, right? Somebody is going to give him a 3-year deal. Somebody, right? Like, will there be a lot of like injury things built into that? Yeah, for sure. But you know what? 2026 and 2027 will be guaranteed for Brandon Aiyuk somewhere, right? He's not getting that with San Francisco. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get 26. He's not going to get a 3-year, $75 million deal. But shoot, you know what's crazy? He might, because that's how crazy the wide receiver market is, right? Like he might. I don't think he will, but shoot, he's going to get 26 million somewhere, right? Like I'm not talking about next year, but over the life of his contract, he's getting 26 million somewhere. You know what I mean? So I think from a financial standpoint, he's probably breaking even somewhere. It sucks for him that San Francisco would do this to him. But hey, listen, if that's what they're doing, then that's what they're doing. But I will say this too. It's like, you can't go and disrespect the guy and then say, hey, you better be a good soldier and then we'll pay you, whatever it is we're going to pay you, man. Like, I'm sorry, man, but like that doesn't sit right with me. There's no way that sits right with Brandon Aiyuk. Like, there just ain't no way. Like, hey, we're going to disrespect you. Now come back and be a good soldier. Nah, man, screw that. Screw that. We can't do that. I just, like I said, if they wanted to keep the guarantees and then still asked him, hey, listen, come back, be a good teammate and do all the right things. And, hey, we can move past this. Fine. But once you get rid of those guarantees, which again, by the way, like the NFLPA was thinking about blocking that move, like that's how, I don't want to say outrageous, but kind of sort of like out of bounds that move was by the team to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do that and then be like, hey, come back and be a good soldier. To me, I don't see that working out at all. I just do not see Brandon Aiyuk coming back to San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. And I think, it's up to Brandon report. I think if it's up to Brandon, he probably doesn't, I don't think he wants to be there anymore.
Right.
And I think he'll probably try to find a different home. I would, like when you first mentioned the contract stuff, I'm like, I don't know. Is he going to get that money elsewhere? Stephon Diggs this offseason signed a 3-year, $63 million deal. Now, obviously, at $21 million a year, obviously, some of that is funny money, right? His base salary this year was like $2.9 million with Stephon Diggs. But I think they're pretty happy with what they've gotten out of Diggs this year. He's been a good find for them. And he was 32 years old. He was coming off a torn ACL, not as devastating as the Aiyuk injury with all the multi-ligament tears and things of that nature, but there's still is a good percentage of money going to Stephon Diggs. And, maybe Aiyuk can get a deal like that elsewhere. Could he be a Buffalo Bill, a recovery project? There's a lot of teams I think that should and would kick the tires on Aiyuk. I will just say, as one of the biggest Brandon Aiyuk backers out there, I do think we're a little bit in the wilderness with Aiyuk at this point. Like, where is he at from a mental standpoint? All of that I think is worth asking. I hope he's, locked in, ready to rock. If it's San Francisco, probably not. If it's elsewhere, let's see it, man. Because he was a great player at his peak. No bullshit, no funny, nothing like that. He was a great player in that 2023 peak, and was even really good before that. Unfortunately, I do think that if he's not showing up and he's not, rehabbing with the team, doing things he's supposed to be doing, I'm not going to, you got to do what you got to do as a team, but I think the error was, and I think this has happened a lot with the San Francisco 49ers, and it happened with one of the guys in their front office, used to be in Washington this past year with Terry McLaurin. Get the deal done. Like, get that thing done early. Don't wait to the last minute, because then
San Francisco loves doing that.
You see what can happen. You can see especially at this position where it's timing, it's rhythm, it's reps, it's chemistry. And I think you lose some of that when you're not in training camp. So that to me was the error at the beginning, which was waiting around on the Aiyuk deal to the very last minute. Like, you should have made a decision earlier, pay him or trade him. Don't wait around to the last minute and then re-sign him, run down on August 25th or whatever to the owner's office. Be like, no, we got to keep him. Just close the phones off.
That's crazy.
Get that done then, because then I think the situation looks a lot different. He maybe doesn't start off I think he almost definitely doesn't start off last season as poorly as he did. And then the injury was a freak thing. I don't think that has anything to do with it. That just has made it a lot more complicated. So we'll see. I mean, I think there will be a contingent of NFL fans who are really excited and want to see like what happens with Brandon Aiyuk, but it's just unfortunate that it played out this way for him and for the team, because it was a really good fit as Kyle Shanahan's ex receiver. And it's just, now we're, again, like I said, a little bit into the wilderness. I hope that we see that 2023 version of Aiyuk again at some point. I don't know if we will.
Even if we see a diminished version of that, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. So we'll see where Brandon Aiyuk ends up. I hope he goes to a place with a good offensive coordinator, and a decent quarterback at the very least, again, coming off this injury, man, like I bet you anything. If you wanted to motivate Brandon Aiyuk, good job, San Francisco. You've motivated Brandon Aiyuk, man. Like, he's gonna be hitting that rehab hard now, let me tell you. So you've motivated him. Good job, San Francisco.